Welcome, everyone, to Reboot the World Campus Party's first ever digital edition. We're excited to have with us today Barb from Square One Education presenting Building Tomorrow's Mobility Experts. Over to you, Barb.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I am thrilled to be here at Campus Party to share a little bit more about how we can build tomorrow's mobility experts. So first, we need to understand what mobility is. The convergence of the automotive industry with IT is creating a rapidly growing and complex mobility industry. This is going to result in vehicles that can communicate with one another, communicate with the infrastructure like stop signs and traffic lights and lane lines, and autonomous vehicles that will actually drive themselves and take the human component out of the equation. This is going to require a workforce with innovative thinking, problem solving, the ability to articulate ideas, as well as having technical skills to accomplish the tasks at hand. The mobility industry is projected to generate at least 100,000 new, well-paying jobs in the coming decade. You can see across the bottom of my slide some of the organizations that are busily working to support this growing industry, like Mish Auto and Planet M and Lyft and the American Center for Mobility and so on. There's a great effort happening right now to make this a reality. For the students in the room today, I don't want you to just think about what you want to do as a career, but what problem do you want to solve? Many kids tell me that, they want to change the world. They want to help others and make a difference. And so they're planning careers maybe in medicine. And that's great. That is a noble pursuit, and we certainly need people to pursue medicine as a career. But don't rule out helping the world and saving lives through the mobility industry. As an engineer or a technologist, you could potentially be a part of a team that saves the environment through tons of fossil fuels and emissions being reduced, or saving actual lives. 40,000 lives per year. That's right. We lose nearly 40,000 people each year through traffic accidents here in the United States alone. And it's almost all driver error. How many lives is reasonable to lose through auto accidents? 10,000, 1,000, 100? How about none? One goal of the mobility industry is to use connected and autonomous vehicle technology to create a crashless society. It'll need to be smart, safe, secure, and efficient. So I'm the executive director at the Square One Education Network. We are a Michigan-based nonprofit educational organization, and we really focus our efforts on bringing hands-on project-based STEM activities to K-12 students and teachers. And so through that, I've got some ideas on how we can address that talent shortage that we keep hearing about and we're fearful of, to narrow the skills gap that we hear so much about, all by engaging kids in programs that integrate science, technology, engineering, and math. So our programs are all about integrating those things in a purposeful, relevant way. We don't live our lives in silos. So siloing math, siloing science, that's really not how the world works. So we want to integrate those concepts along with engineering, which is all about solving problems and using technology to accomplish that. So we provide, as you can see here, these young ladies are middle school students, and they are working with connected vehicle technology, where we've taken a big idea and we've shrunk it down into something that's manageable in a classroom. And so this takes partnerships that are meaningful and with like-minded organizations. My colleague, Kip Darcy from Kettering University in Flint, Michigan, was unable to join me today, but he wanted to share a message with all of you.
Good afternoon, Kip Darcy from Kettering University. Thanks so much for including us in your meeting, and a special call out to our partnership with Square One. We've had a wonderful experience with Square One, and the affinity that Square One students have around mobility dovetails perfectly with the Kettering mission as the preeminent place in America for mobility and mobility engineering. We've had fantastic opportunities to host Square One at our Mobility Research Center, and we look forward to a time when we'll be able to do that again. Wishing you the best for your meetings. We also have scholarship opportunities for students within mobility, and we look forward to a continued partnership and an opportunity to host more events here on campus. Thank you.
Great. So we share a philosophy that there is real impact and value to engaging students in learning, followed by immersing them in application of that learning. So there are a number of post-secondary organizations like Kettering University, Washtenaw Community College, many of the skilled trades schools that integrate that learning, that classroom component, and then you go out into the workplace to apply those skills, learn a little bit more, come back to class, again, pick up more theory, and now go out into the workplace to apply that. And that's certainly something that here at Square One, we think is the best way to learn. We want to give meaning to those classroom lessons. So some of the suggestions, if you're looking at what should I be doing and what should I be looking for when I consider post-secondary and possibly a career in mobility, look for programs that offer a hands-on career-focused component. Seek leading-edge programs. Where are they talking about cybersecurity or mobility? And certainly participate in experiential extracurricular activities. And as my slide also indicates, don't count automotive out. Those jobs since the recession in 2009 have grown by 49%. That's pretty meaningful and certainly makes that a long-term career potential. So I talked about us sharing that philosophy. So my philosophy is that a good project is one that doesn't have just one right answer. A working solution is a right answer. And so when we offer kids opportunities to try these hands-on activities, it is all about coming up with a unique and innovative solution. Projects should have authentic learning involved in them. And that means, not just something kind of weird and, out there, that's fun, but does it apply to something that you can look out in your world right now and see? Something like advanced driver assist systems, those backup cameras, or that vibration that you get on the mirrors if you swerve out of your lane. Those sorts of things are authentic learning experiences that, again, we've shrunk down and brought into some bite-sized activities. And remember, meaningful learning is not one size fits all. We're not all about doing the same program. Even within our own organization, we have a diverse portfolio of projects. Mrs. Smith in her second floor physics classroom may not be able to build this electric car that you see pictured on my screen here. Maybe there's something a little smaller, but still as robust for her to adapt with her students and engage them in quality learning. And isn't it more fun to come to school and learn those algebraic equations and formulas because they'll improve your autonomous IVD vehicle's performance, or they'll increase the efficiency of your underwater robot? RealWorld Application has great benefit. So through the programs that we try to offer and other like-minded organizations offer, we're creating awareness for college and well-paying career paths in the mobility industry. So if you're a parent or a teacher, or you know any parents or teachers, think about sharing these strategies with them. We want students driving their learning. A student-driven project, it puts them in the driver's seat, right? No pun intended. We focus on students doing things and making their own decisions. These are underwater robots that you see here. So now we're applying physics concepts. You know, we're getting that perfect refraction with that ROV under the ice in that picture. We're working as a team. We're learning systems engineering. So our full-scale innovative vehicle design program is the one that you see pictured here. That is a vehicle, go-kart sized, that was built from the ground up by a group of high school students. They had to fit our safety parameters, but it is an electric vehicle. It has to have some innovative component. It has to be light-weighted, and it has to be able to connect in its environment. So they have to be able to receive messages that we have placed out on the course, and then they have to be able to send messages to our roadside units. So again, something that's a really big concept that real engineers are working on and problem solving right now. Our students are doing that in a smaller size right there in their classroom. Things like, how do you make a lightweight vehicle, but is it safe? Is it robust? Are things that are happening out in industry today. Our autonomous innovative vehicle design program is on kind of a unique platform. You can see that is indeed a toddler Power Wheels Jeep. And so we give that to students. We give them the mission challenges, things like being able to traverse a course that's chalked out on the ground. Can they parallel park? Can they platoon? Just like the Army vehicles do, you know, following one another. Can they sense their surroundings and avoid obstacles? So those are all things that they have to think of how to solve that challenge in a budget, just like in the real world. They can't spend more than $1,000 on their Arduino boards, their Raspberry Pis, their BeagleBones, ultrasonic sensors, servos, motors. And then if you take a look at it, you also have to remember that that's a child's toy. So that's a picture of tread on those tires. So there's some mechatronics involved too. What do we have to change about the tires, about the axles? How do we, apply the right amount of friction to be able to get traction on the course? And then what an interesting mobility challenge. How about moving underwater? We offer an underwater innovative vehicle design challenge. And again, you know, these are very affordable things. They're available, in schools across the country. There are kids working with underwater robots. And so not only are they using systems engineering, they have to, integrate all of these different components. They have to be waterproof to a certain depth. And then you have to think about, how does being underwater impact performance? Does it reduce the electrical impulses and so on? So those are some of the challenges that they face. But we've had students who have traveled the country, traveled across the world even, to use their ROVs to help solve problems, whether it's in the environment and they're collecting data, to students we had from Stockbridge, Michigan, that traveled all the way to Palau, the island nation in the Pacific, where they were using their ROV to find aircraft that were downed back in World War II, so that they could be identified, and if there were remains, that they could be repatriated. So there are just an amazing number of opportunities through these projects. And then our Masters of Mobility program uses this unique 3D printed platform. And again, our idea is to build tomorrow's mobility experts. So you can see we're even starting this with middle school students. They are really in the connected piece where the toddler Barbie Jeep was being used as an autonomous platform. This is all about Bluetooth connectivity. And so this is the connected piece. Can you make it talk to the infrastructure? Can it collect data? Can it send messages? Does it sense other vehicles around it? So I've talked a lot about these different programs that we offer, and you still might be thinking, how do these, I don't understand how this works and what this program is all about. So here at Square One, we found that if you offer a little bit of training, a little bit of funding, the cool project parameters, and then you host a competition, you can come back to great success and an impact on students. So we went to our customers, the kids, and asked them to tell us a little bit about what these programs mean to them. So I'm going to go ahead and share another video here.
Here for the Innovative Vehicle Design Challenge at the beautiful Kettering University GM Mobility Test Track. We already have all of our student teams here setting up for their electric vehicle challenges, their autonomous vehicle challenges.
We've participated in Square One for about 3 years now, and it's just made a huge impact on our lives, like teaching us about science and engineering.
We are running our car on an Elegoo microcontroller, which is running on Arduino software. So we used Arduino IDE to program this.
Yeah, Square One's a real critical element in developing STEM skill sets that are going to eventually lead to students stepping into the talent pipeline and satisfying industries.
There's lots of hands-on learning in the class that I think other competitions don't give you, and it's all class-based and student-led, and it's really up to the students' ingenuity and creativity.
I knew a little bit about engineering, but this was definitely the kind of thing that kick-started my, yes, I want to be an engineer.
Awesome. So now we have to turn our thoughts to how do we implement connected and autonomous vehicle technology? There's a lot of resistance to that. There's a lot of fear to that. So connected and autonomous vehicles will only be widely adopted when we trust it, which offers another well-paying career pathway that you may want to consider, and that's in the area of cybersecurity. With partners, we offer our newest program for in-school automotive cybersecurity training. We're offering teachers to be trained and then giving them curriculum so that if they wanted to conduct a class on cybersecurity, they could continue to do that and have some real growth potential with that program. So we're partnering with the SAE Cyber Auto Challenge, GRIM, and Washtenaw Community College to bring this in-depth training to students. So the SAE Cyber Auto Challenge has, of course, been canceled for this summer because of COVID-19, but it is an annual opportunity for high school, college, and post-college students to apply and participate in a very high-level cybersecurity program. The OEMs, the original equipment manufacturers, will bring vehicles into a secure location, and then you as a participant spend the week learning about ethical hacking, CAN bus, encryption, reverse engineering, and then you end with a big hackathon where you are really examining those vehicles brought in by the OEMs for potential weaknesses where possibly someone could have some nefarious access. And so it's all under non-disclosure agreements. It's a very, very secure, no photo kind of opportunity. But definitely, if you're a student out there who might be interested in this, you'll want to check out the SAE Cyber Auto Challenge. Grimm has been a terrific partner. They are really big in this space, and they wanted us to make sure that we shared just some thoughts on how you might develop your own skills should you be interested in this down the road. And the biggest thing they said is be curious. Look at how things are put together. How was that put together? That reverse engineering is all about taking it back apart and seeing how it was put together in the first place. Certainly experiment with some of the pieces and parts that I've mentioned in earlier in my presentation. Arduino, sensors, Raspberry Pi kits are all very affordable and will provide you with some great experience in how to begin coding and engaging in cybersecurity. So one of the best ways that I can think of for us as a society to have big impact on kids in K-12 and their career paths is by investing in that frontline teachers. And so when we can help them to build their interest and their confidence and competence in complex STEM programming, they're going to impart that on their students. And now we're building a more confident, competent student who will go out into the world and become a part of the workforce. So this picture, the smiling picture here, is a group of teachers that came out to our 3D printing workshop. Those printers look like they belong in a maker space, right? Well, they do. That's a very low cost, high quality 3D printer. So those teachers came in, and over the course of 3 days, we gave them a box of parts, and they built their own 3D printers. So now they can troubleshoot it. If it breaks, which many technological things do, they can make those repairs, and they are empowered. I can do this. I can take this into my classroom. I can let kids use it and begin to become innovative and design their own pieces and parts for projects and solving problems. But even more so, they are also a part of a network of educators that provide resource for each other when it comes to effective classroom application. So that's really what we do here at Square One, and we have so many great companies out there that are in this same space, and they're all working toward creating tomorrow's mobility experts that are going to help us to make that difference and save those 40,000 humans that we lose every year in the U.S. to automobile accidents. We hope that you will consider becoming a part of the STEM workforce that addresses those challenges. I thank you very much for tuning in today and the opportunity to share what we do with you. And I'm going to turn it back over to Carol. And if you have any questions, feel free to send them along.
Yeah, we had a couple questions that came in, so I'm going to put it on the screen. So the first question is, why is project-based learning better than traditional classroom experience? Barb, before you answer that, if you want to stop sharing your screen, that would be great.
Okay. Great. Oh, it's so good to see everyone. We believe very strongly that hands-on project-based learning is the best way for students to learn. We adapt to things emotionally in our environment. We connect to them. And, if you think back to your own educational experience, what was kind of an aha moment or a favorite project that you did? It's unlikely that it was filling out a worksheet. Or taking a test or sitting through a PowerPoint lecture. It was probably when you built something, you made something, you created an effect. And so that's really why we believe that's the best way to learn. So you take that theoretical classroom experience and you apply that to a tangible project and you see the outcome. And that's how we think that learning sticks with you and it really becomes super clear.
We have another question. How can schools become involved in your program?
Oh, that is a great question. We are, as I mentioned, a Michigan-based organization. We're a nonprofit, and so we would be happy to talk with anyone, certainly here in Michigan, but beyond. If you are interested in bringing any of these projects to your community, to your school, just reach out. My email and contact information is at the end of this presentation. Please feel free to shoot me an email and we can talk about how we can share what we've learned, our best practices to impact students in your community.
Okay, we have one more. Specifically, how do the IVD challenges tie to a real world careers?
Well, as an organization, we pride ourselves on being nimble. And so we stay in very close contact with industry. And that's why partnerships are so important to us, so that we know what is happening right now. If they're pointing us toward, electric vehicles, if they're pointing us toward that, connectivity, the mobility, we know that we need to be really looking at how we can make that digestible in a classroom setting, affordably and at kind of a reasonable level, but still exposing kids to those industry trends. So we really think that the things that we're doing, those ultrasonic sensors with everything, that's key. Though, if you look at a new car, those are on there. Especially our autonomous and Masters of Mobility program are tied directly to what's happening in industry right now. It's called ADAS, Advanced Driver Assist Systems. So things like lane assist and parallel parking, the car doing that autonomously, platooning. Those are all things that are happening right now in the real world.
Okay, perfect. What I'm going to do is to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Barb, if you want to get your contact slide on the screen while I get that, I'll get that up on the screen for you shortly. But in the meantime, I just want to take a few minutes to say thank you to all our sponsors. Without them, we couldn't have this event. And thank you, Barb. Very informative. Really enjoyed your presentation today. And for those of you who want to reach out to Barb, her contact information is on the screen. And with that, we'll bring the session to a close and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.